Kung Fu Havoc number 2. This is Human Nature, part 2. Now, we talked about race and things, about the young man that's fixing to get a windfall from the mistreatment of the police officers to him here in Charlottesville. And he's a UVA student. And I think he just graduated, matter of fact. Now, the thing I said, when you touch on poison seeds like race and uh, sexual orientation and things like that. These are things that the people in the world tend to pull to the forefront in terrorist attacks. Okay, the terrorist attacks should always be at the forefront. I'm not just saying that because I was in the army, but I'm sure many of you who were born before 9/11 know exactly what you were doing on that day. All right, because I was watching my favorite beautiful half Asian anchor woman Ann Curry on Dateline, NBC, or to Today Show, whichever one it was, because I was half asleep, and her scream woke me up for the second plane. Alright? It's a moment that no one here over the age of 35 will ever fucking forget. Ever. No. I can tell you where I was during Columbine. I can tell you where I was when the movie Fahrenheit 9/11 came out. You know, So when you think about things like this, and then you guys don't give credit to documentary filmmakers like Michael Moore, you're like, oh, he's just stirring up trouble. No, what he's doing is slapping you in the face with facts, and you don't want to be slapped in the face with facts. He did one about the NRA. They did everything they could to make sure that he didn't get the interviews that he wanted. He interviewed certain people, and I'm pretty sure he interviewed a couple of people who were in the NRA who were actors, and they were like rushing him out the house and shit. And here's the thing: Michael Moore needs to make another film. If Michael Moore makes another film about all the shit that's been going on with gun control, Fahrenheit 9/11, uh, Bowling for Columbine. You guys don't know Michael Moore. He's one of my favorite documentary activists. It makes films about shit that affects us directly. Michael Moore, shout out. Anyway, when he made these movies, he made these movies like right damn near directly after these events. And people were like, they gave Michael Moore such a hard time. But he didn't hit on one fact. You let me know. Because I seen those movies, and he hit on every fact that was in the news. He hit on shit that wasn't in the news. Now, not too long ago, we had to deal with them talking about Jesse Matthews, and then they're talking about this damn statue of Robert E. Lee. And I'm personally, I'm not on any side of that. I mean, to be honest, it's a statue. It's not gonna get up. Its horse isn't gonna tramp through Charlottesville and start killing black people. It's not gonna get a whip and start beating us with sticks and stuff. It's a fucking piece of ceramic that's been there since before anybody that's over the age of 42 knew about the damn statue. There are other statues in other parks. There are statues of Native Americans that I find offensive. The statue of Sacagawea. I find it offensive because she's kneeling. There's a statue right across from the Red Roof Inn with Native Americans and uh, white people with guns drawn. I find it offensive. But I'm not going to chain myself to the goddamn statue to have them take it down and remake it so that everybody's standing proud. It's historical. Deal with it. It's a part of life. We can't change history, but we can make a new history by moving forward and getting rid of racism. Of course, you guys don't want to do that because some people just like the way things are, and they want to keep it that way, and that's fine. This is America. It's entitled to its opinion, and let's not forget the backs of the people who have died, or who have been enslaved, or who have been killed and murdered and raped, so that this country could be the great country that it is. Now, granted, I support this country. I joined up to die for this country, but everything I just said is 1,000% true. My Native American ancestors, my black ancestors, my white ancestors, somewhere along the line, someone in my family probably suffered for this shit. Now, I'm not going to pull out Alex Haley and go root searching. All right? But what I am going to do is tell the truth. And the thing with the human nature is that we're so busy looking backwards at what was done instead of looking for at how we can fix it and change it, we want to throw back. We want to go, well, you black people still want your 2 acres and a mule. You Asian people want to get restitutions for being locked up because you weren't Japanese, but we thought you were Japanese because we were at the war with Japanese and all you guys look alike. Need I go on? Indentured servants. Let's not forget that the Chinese helped build the railroads, and some of them lost their lives during the gold rush when they actually found gold and was making mad money, but they had to give up the gold for their wives or their lives so that their wives and their lives wouldn't be raped. But I'm sure that you're not allowed to learn that in school because they don't want you to learn that. But here's how you learn history. How was your grandmother? You take a little tape recorder, you go in there and you listen. You decipher what's true and what's exaggerated. You decipher what she's been through, and then you go from there. And you remember that she has a story, her mother had a story, and her mother's mother had a story. And if you have all three of them alive in your life, you get your ass in gear, and you go and you've recorded them, and you save every bit of knowledge that you have. Because the one thing about the human race, we will thrive, but we thrive best when we work together as people, as friends, as family, instead of as racists or sexual gender biased people who can't wait to turn that knife in your back because you decided that you wanted to be a woman instead of a man, or you decided you want to be a man instead of a woman, and you chopped off your breast, or you chopped off your penis, and you got a vagina, and you got a penis, and all this crap that has no relevance of what's going on and what we need. We need to beef up our defenses so that there is no more Boston bombings. We need to keep people on the terrorist list that contacted people that had something to do with Boston bombings. We need to do things that's more productive than counterproductive. Gun control. Here's the thing about that. I'm going to say it like Whoopi Goldberg said it, and I quote, if you're not on the terrorist list because you want to be there, then you shouldn't be there. If you're on the terror list and they seen you like 4 times, plus you have ties to people connected to terrorist attacks, your ass needs to never come off the list. I'm sorry, Whoopi, I know I completely worded that wrong. And so, in that, when you do these things, it's when you fuck up. But as my drill sergeants used to say at Fort Benning, Georgia, everyone needs to be on the same damn page because no one wants to be standing on top of the grenade. All right? So, CIA, FBI, INS, Kremlins, or KGB, Interpol, everyone needs to have one representative from each one of those guys sit in the United Nations on the little round table made by King Arthur and discuss what they're doing to prevent this from happening to everyone's country. Sooner or later, you will fish out a traitor. It's just a matter of time because no one's closer to you than the guy that has the knife in your back. Alright? But the thing about that is you don't know who that guy is. And then you have the fact that, we're worried about little stuff. We need to worry about big stuff. Terrorist attacks is very big. And as of this year, we've had, what, 4, 5, 6? Which is like 5 too many. I can't count them all on my finger. I remember the San Bernardino thing. I remember the dude in Florida a week or two ago. And I remember a few in between there. So why are we failing? Because the human nature of the beast of this us is to worry about everything except for the right thing. And when we can start doing the right thing and put race to the side and creed and sexual preferences and get all that crap out of the way, we'll have one less thing to worry about. And finally, since I'm at the 10-minute mark and I'm going to go for the next 5, let's talk about the religious people who were coming down on the people who lost their lives in Florida because of sexual preference. I've mentioned this before, and I'll mention this again, because it hurts me to my heart how people use God as a way to justify some of the shit that comes out their mouth. You are a servant of God. You do not have the right to preach or teach hatred. You can't sit here and say, see that? WWJD, You can't sit here and say, what would Jesus do? Yet you're hating gay people. You can't sit here and wear this thing and stand up to salute us soldiers and pray to the good Lord above if you're turning right around and hating us. How can you swear on a Bible at night before you go to sleep? How can you ask for forgiveness for something that you don't deserve? Or even worse, you're molesting kids and it's not really public knowledge anymore, or you're getting shifted around through the church and you're supposed to be a person of God. Well, my advice to everyone is if your kid or you aren't safe in the house of the Lord, you're not safe anywhere. And I'm sure you're all thinking, oh, James just got real. No, I've been real from day one. From the first Kung Fu movie I made, from the first blog video that I've done. I've never sugarcoated anything. I've tried to water down my mouth. Because I'll be the first to say, I swear way too much. But I own it. No, I sit there and own it. I know people in jail for doing things that they shouldn't have done. I own that. I know people in jail who shouldn't be in jail. I know people in jail for doing justifiable homicides. And you think to yourself, what makes something a justifiable homicide? Well, here's what I tell you. I have nieces and I have nephews. And when I was healthier, if anybody would hurt them, I would destroy them and deal with the consequences later. And that was before I joined the army. But the army made me a little bit more liberal on that. I'm a strong believer in if you rape my daughter or my wife, that's the last people you ever rape. Because not only am I going to dismember your penis and your balls, I'm going to make sure that you never live to do it to anyone else. Now, I come from a line of people who don't believe the same things that I believe. My father didn't believe in abortion. I don't really not believe in it. See, here's my thing on that. I will always support the woman's right to choose. Let's get that out of the way. I had to convince my father to support the woman's right to choose. I don't support abortion when it's a form of birth control. But the second a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old or 11-year-old or a 12-year-old, need I go on? The moment that one of these young women is raped, and you think that she should have to carry that seed of that demon that did that shit to her, you're an asshole. And if you feel that way about it, wait till it happens to one of your children. Wait till somebody you love is walking down an alley, dressed hot and sexy, and some little drunk bastard decides that, well, she asked for it because her skirt, you could see her butt cheeks. She was wearing a thong. It was easy access. She was walking around and she was switching and she was shaking that thing like a chubby chicken nightmare. Does that give that asshole the right to rape your daughter, your sister, your mother, and even your grandmother? Yeah, grandmothers get raped too. There are some hot grandmas. Don't think that they're not. And yet you want to force them to carry the baby of some motherfucker who had no right to have sex with them because they didn't consent to it. So for you guys that's trying to burn down abortion clinics, maybe you ought to weigh the pros and cons of that. Because some things are necessary evil. You might not support abortion. I don't really support it. I support the woman's right to choose. Now, if she's constantly having abortions, then she has two things she needs to do. One, get your tubes tied. Or get on some real birth control. That's just one. Two, just stop fucking. It's not that difficult. They make toys for women and they sure work better than men, so, you can motorboat yourself and all that crap. You're straight to go. Now, for those guys who support abortion or are like me, yeah, I'm in the middle of that, You gotta understand, I got 5 sisters. And if somebody would have done something to one of my sisters, I would have had to destroy this shit. I just had to find them and then catch them. Let's say somebody raped and killed your daughter. You're gonna just let that stand? I know that all these people are always preaching, you have to use your head. Let the law take care of it. Let the law take care of it. Okay, cool. But there's one thing I've learned growing up in the 42 years I've been alive. The law and justice ain't always the same thing, right? Because sometimes the law will lock a rapist up for 15 years. Well, let's say the rape victim's father kills the rapist. He gets life for taking the life of the man that raped his daughter. And you guys think that there's something fair about that? This guy raped his daughter. Let's say she was 8 years old, too young to know anything about anything outside of Barbie dolls and the internet. And the rapist would only get 5 to 15. Oh, yeah, he's going to be on the sexual registration fund for the rest of his life. That does not change the fact that if you blink, he might do it again. Might is a very strong word. It is a very strong concept, and it is a thick pill to swallow, and I'm going to stop this video because I'm at the 16-minute mark. I'll do a third part. It'll be my final video for the night.